Imagine I dropped you into the world 50,000 years ago. You're standing in the middle of a forest. There are fruits growing on the trees, roots buried beneath your feet, fish moving through the river, and animals wandering somewhere in the distance. It looks like food is everywhere. But here's the problem. You could still starve to death. Because the hardest part wasn't finding food. The hardest part was knowing what was safe to eat. Today, when you're hungry, you think, pizza? Burger? Rice? Fruit? You walk into a store, and food is waiting for you. But your ancestors had no supermarket, no packages, no nutrition labels, and most importantly, no warning signs. A beautiful red berry could be your next meal, or your last mistake. A mushroom could taste delicious, or kill you. So early humans had to develop a skill that would eventually change our entire species. They learned to read the world around them. They watched the ground. They studied footprints. They noticed broken branches. They listened to animal calls. They followed birds. And sometimes, they followed other predators to find food. Where vultures were circling, there might be a dead animal below. Where bees kept flying in one direction, there might be honey. Where animals repeatedly walked the same path, there was probably water or food nearby. To us, a forest looks random. To them, it was a book. Every footprint was a sentence. Every season was a chapter. And every mistake was a lesson. But finding food wasn't enough. You also had to know when it would appear. Some fruits were available for only a few weeks. Some roots were easier to dig up after the rain. Certain fish gathered in specific parts of rivers during certain seasons. Animals moved with the changing weather. And humans began remembering these patterns. An older member of the group might know which rock concealed water, which tree produced fruit at a certain time of year, where bees built their nests, and which plants were safe only after they were properly prepared. This knowledge wasn't written in a book. It was remembered. Then it was taught to children. Those children grew up, and they passed the knowledge to the next generation. Slowly, humans began collecting something more valuable than meat: knowledge. But nature had another problem. Sometimes there was too much food, and sometimes there was almost nothing. Imagine finding a huge number of fish in one day. You couldn't eat them all. So what would you do? This is where humans began learning how to preserve food. Meat could be dried. Fish could be preserved. Food could be exposed to smoke. Fruits could be dried. Seeds and nuts could be stored. For the first time, humans weren't thinking only about today. They were thinking about tomorrow. What happens if we don't find anything tomorrow? That simple question changed everything. Because survival wasn't just about strength. It was about planning. But then humans did something even more extraordinary. Instead of only searching for food, they started bringing food closer to themselves. They collected seeds from wild plants. They watched how those plants grew. They learned which places produced more food. And slowly, a transformation began that would eventually reshape human civilization. Farming. Humans stopped chasing food everywhere. They began growing it. They stayed in one place longer. They planted seeds. They waited. And when the crops finally grew, humans had created something incredibly powerful. A food source they could partly control. But there was a price. If the crops failed, the entire year could be threatened. If the rain didn't come, the fields could dry up. If insects destroyed the crops, months of work could disappear. Humans had escaped some of the uncertainty of the wild, but created a new kind of dependence. And today, we stand at the opposite end of that story. We have so much food that most of us don't need to find it ourselves. We don't need to know which roots are safe, which mushrooms are poisonous, which fruit grows during which season, or where fish are hiding in the river. We only have to do one thing: choose. But inside your body, the ancient human is still there. The same human who, thousands of years ago, never wanted to waste an opportunity to eat. The same brain that becomes attracted to sweet, energy-rich food. The same body that wants to store energy for the future. Because for millions of years, the next meal was never guaranteed. So tonight, when you open your refrigerator, stop for a second. Look at everything inside. That food isn't just food. It represents one of the greatest victories in human history. Your ancestors had to search through forests for a single fruit. They had to walk to rivers for fish. They had to spend hours tracking animals. And sometimes, after an entire day of effort, they found nothing. Today, you can press a button, and food can arrive at your door. We have almost defeated hunger, but your brain is still carrying the memory of a world where the next meal was never guaranteed. And maybe that's why food has never been just about survival. Deep inside your mind, there is still an ancient question. What if there isn't enough tomorrow? And that ancient question is still shaping the way you eat today. If you enjoyed discovering the hidden story behind something as ordinary as food, subscribe to the channel. Because there are millions of years of human history hiding behind the things we do every single day. And we're just getting started.